almost 2 years ago, Ryan became my first Patreon supporter, and he requested that I dive into the Sony Pictures Animation filmography, starting with the awful open season. But I began to work my way through their history. I saw the Emoji Movie and Surf's Up. I saw some stuff from Aardman and from the Smurfs. It's been quite an interesting ride. Their most recent film is The Angry Birds Movie 2, which only adds to their very confusing lineup. I mean, they've done live-action hybrids and established franchises and even some stop motion. So it's pretty hard to explain what their style is. But it makes sense that they would decide to do a sequel to a movie that they had almost nothing to do with because, hey, it's Sony. Sony Animation. We just do whatever. So, I don't know. Maybe they saved the best for last, or for most recent, I guess. I mean, they're not done making movies. There's another one coming out this year. I hope. Let's discuss the long-awaited follow-up to the Angry Birds movie, The Angry Birds Movie 2, or The Angry Birds 2 movie, or The Angry Birds Movie 2, or just Angry Birds 2, or I don't know.
Directed by Thorpe Van Orman, this is a sequel to a movie that didn't have the involvement of Sony Pictures Animation, so I had to go watch the original first, and I guess I'll do a review for that, but how about it's a Patreon-only exclusive? So if you don't want to wait a year for that video to go public, you can go and check out my Patreon page. It'd mean the world to me. But to quickly sum up my thoughts, I was a bit iffy on the first film. There was some good stuff, but mostly bad stuff, but I didn't really get excessively bored or annoyed. It's just what you'd come to expect from a modern kids movie that's trying to sell to the masses. With the sequel, I was curious about Sony Pictures Animation being part of the production, and given some of their more recent stuff ranging from average to beyond excellent, I thought this might be a step up from the original. Even the plot seemed more intriguing. After watching it, my expectations certainly were met. It's slightly more improved, has somewhat better animation, and a better story, even though it's not too unique. It's essentially a comedic take on the heist genre, with some espionage elements thrown in. This time, the birds team up with the pigs after they establish a truce, after discovering a third island that's home to the eagles, led by Leslie Jones, who was left at the altar many years earlier by the mighty eagle himself. Unfortunately, like the first one, this suffers from an excess of horrible puns and unfunny jokes, but to its credit, there's not nearly as much of them, and they at least seem to be learning from the previous entry. For instance, the potty humor is minimal, the characters aren't as annoying, some of the humor actually made me laugh, and the mime, who was so terrible in the last one, gets way less screen time. They actually focus on a smaller group of characters, even though the main cast is slightly bigger, if that makes any sense. They leave the island, so there's not as many birds or pigs on the side saying random things. The cast is still on point too. Josh Gad is fantastic as always. I love Peter Dinklage again. Sterling K. Brown is probably the biggest standout here, as he is almost unrecognizable. Some of them probably could have gotten more attention. I mean, personally, I love Pete Davidson, and as one of his biggest fans, I barely noticed if he got any lines. And where Red was unwatchable last time, he's at least more grounded here. I wish I could have loved this one more, but being a sequel to the last one, I guess there wasn't much for it to go, even if the genre is completely different and more to my liking. In the end, it's still a cash-grabbing ploy to market a series of video games, and at this point, besides the character designs, which still feel awkward and unsuitable for arms and legs, The Angry Birds Movie 2 has almost nothing to do with the game itself. The 2016 film at least contained the important iconography for the finale. This one does its own thing, which I appreciate, but it feels unimaginative compared to the very thing it's based on. It's tough to complain about this. I just wasn't invested, but I could see people liking it more. I think I enjoyed the side quest with the hatchlings retrieving the eggs they lost and getting into multiple hijinks. It probably should have been a short film, but I think it fit together with the overall narrative. If I were to give it one big compliment, I kind of like that the birds and the pigs actually stay friends in the end, because so many movies would do that thing where they get to the end and then the pigs, the bad guys, would betray them, but that doesn't really happen here. No, they just have a camaraderie after this, and everything kind of changes for the better. I suppose if you want to see yet another 2019 movie with an Awkwafina performance that got snubbed at the Oscars, this one would be for you. It's just weird to end the Sony catalog on this note, but the whole journey has been a never-ending wave of extreme highs and lows. Surf's Up is still incredibly underrated, Spider-Verse deserves all the praise it gets, the Hotel Transylvania series was a surprise, and I wish Aardman could have done more with a future Pirates movie. For a studio that consistently gets negative criticism, you can't deny that they have a wide range of stories and locations. And sure, they released the Emoji Movie, and 4 open season movies, but you can't ignore when they get things right. And based on their most recent hits, and seemingly putting an end to unnecessary franchises like the Smurfs, I think this company has a bright future ahead of them. Connected looks awesome, we're getting more Spider-Man in Hotel Transylvania, and they just won an Oscar for Hair Love, so even their shorts are doing well. They've actually done quite a bit of shorts, all of which are available on the Blu-rays I have. I guess I'm not quite done with this studio yet, so I'll see you next time, Sony Pictures Animation. Thanks to Ryan for this Patreon request, and thanks to all my Patreon supporters. For only $7, you can get your own monthly movie review. Ask me to review anything I haven't already. There's also other perks like blogs, exclusive videos, and early access. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And thanks so much for watching this video.